Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And this is really like most of the stuff I do for bonus reviews are off the cuff. They're like, they're not planned. This was this was sort of planned. I originally planned to do a revisited series for I Know What You Did Last Summer during the month of October. But by the time I was getting ready to record, which admittedly I started way too early, but the movie, the new one, wasn't out on physical media yet. Now, it is. And yes, that is the DVD. Thank you, Walmart. Oh, no. And it's not because they didn't have, like, they were out of Blu-rays and I had to settle for a DVD. No, no, no. They only had the DVD. They did the same thing, you remember, if we got that far, they did the same thing with Until Dawn. I don't know if that review's out yet. But, so, with that being said, it's time to kind of now go back to the original three and talk about them. And I find it interesting that other channels were starting to do reviews or videos on those, but did not do the third one. Some of them didn't. Some of them only did the first two. I'm like, I understand you only kind of need to, but as a completionist, I have to do all three. Because like, I could just revisit the first two. No, even though the third one's a pile like crap, might as well throw that one in there too. I will not, however, be revisiting the Amazon Prime TV series that was not very good. It was fine. The Scream TV series was better. They took a lot of liberties with that one, and I don't know. I have a review for that. Check it out. I barely remember it. I remember there's honey and shit. Like a... I don't know. And twins. And twins! No. So this one, after Scream came out, so I guess Kevin Williamson wrote the script for this before Scream. It was based on Lois Duncan's novel, Lois of the same name, and Lois Duncan was not very happy when this came out because they took her, what was like a drama thriller novel, and turned it into a slasher, and that's not what it was. She was so angry. But you know what? I don't care how angry she is, because she probably got some royalties. So she still made money. So I don't know. She can complain all she wants. But, oh, that movie was so bad. Oh, what? What? I'm just counting my money. But yeah, and of course they had to do what they did with Scream, bring in some young stars, and that's what they did. Resulted in two sequels, one of which came out the next year, another one came out in 2006 and was unrelated. It very much unrelated. Well, except for one thing. Zombie Fisherman! And then the TV series, and then we got this requel. In a way, because it ignores the third one pretty much. But, from what I hear, yeah. So we got the cast here. We got Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., Ryan Phillippe, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Johnny Galecki, Sonya Blade, Bridget Wilson Sampras. What else is there? Anne Heche, rest in peace. Muse Watson. That's pretty much it. So rewatching this, I enjoyed it. So my history with this, and I don't know if I remember saying if I said this in my original review. I actually did not see this before the second one. The second one was the one I saw first. I do vaguely remember my grandparents watching this one and me catching just the end. Like, we came over to spend the night or the weekend or something, and they were finishing up watching this. And we just caught the end when we walked in. And then the second one came out, and then that was on TV, like USA Network or something. And we watched it. And So I didn't know anything going into that one, and then she told the backstory, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that was because I kind of remember the end of the first one, but yeah, maybe that's why I like the second one better than this one. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's better. Not just because of Jack Black, and believe me, it's all good. No, just I don't know. I just like the feel of it better. We'll see, but yeah. So he's out. We start in Southport, Maine. Just says Southport Massacre. It's a fishing town, Maine or Massachusetts or something. And we start with some rock music, which I realized this time. I've watched this at least 10 times or more. And I just realized this time that this song playing is a heavy rock version of Summer Breeze Makes You Feel Fine. I just realized that. I was like, wait a minute. I was really listening. I'm like, I know the song. What is it? And I looked at the soundtrack. Summer Breeze? Yeah! That's what it is. Summer Breeze. It's a rock version. And we see this guy. We later find out it's David Egan. And he's got like a little picture thingy he's looking at. He's getting drunk. And someone sees it behind him. And then we snap cut to our main characters. We see three of them, that being Julie James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., and Barry Cox, played by Ryan Phillippe. And they're watching Helen Shivers, their friend, perform on the Croker Queen pageant. The Croker Queen pageant, which is Croker Queen, but then they always show a fish. Croker is frog. I don't know why they always show. It's always a fish, because it's a fishing town. But why Croker? Shouldn't it be like Flounder Queen or something? She wins. Although we don't really see any other talents there, but she wins, of course. The conversation. So I think this conversation they have was supposed to be like the snappy dialogue in Scream, where they talk about movies and stuff or something. But here, because they don't do that, it's less self-aware than Scream. We just talk about Helen's breasts for about a minute. Oh, she does this exercise to pump them up. She's, oh, I'm having enough sexism. I was like, so they're done and they're celebrating. We meet Max. And that's where I realized, and if you don't know, Max gets the shaft in this version of the film. I don't know what his plot would have entailed had they kept him in. But this character gets the shaft. He gets screwed. Because it feels like there was something more with him, although I couldn't find any substantial evidence of that. But there's a whole thing here at the beginning where it's like, hey, I'm your oldest. We know each other since we were kids, and you're going to blow me off? I can't say goodbye. And she, because she wants to hang out with her new friends and not this guy that she's known. And then we know that really would make him a viable suspect. But reshoots changed that. We'll get to it. So they get schnockered and they leave Max after a little bit of altercation with Barry. Then they go off to Dawson's Beach, something of which I thought was always a joke. It's like, everyone keeps saying it's Dawson's Beach. I'm like, I don't think it is. I think someone made a joke in some video somewhere, and everybody just ran with it. But no, I hear it loud and clear in this movie. It's Dawson Beach. I guess I didn't hear it before. Dawson's Beach. Because Kevin Williamson was also the showrunner for Dawson's Creek. So, or Dawson Creek as I like to call it. So, yeah, so they're on the beach. And Helen's planning out her future with Barry. How he's going to go to college and be a big football player. And she's going to go to New York to be an actor. And every time I watch this, I get confused. Because Who goes to New York to be an actor? Don't you go to California to be an actor? Hollywood? What's in New York? Is there like an acting school or something in New York that I'm not aware of? I really don't know. I don't know. Juilliard? Is that in New York? Don't know why she would go to Juilliard though. She's a pageant queen. She's not. Whatever. Then she plans on getting back with Barry, or them starting their life together. Or she getting impregnated with the first of 3 children. And then she even plans him going to rehab. So it's not all sunshine and roses, I guess. But yeah, I also telling the story of the hook-handed killer. And they had different variations. And there's this movie. Then also Lover's Lane, I think, is also a variation of the Hookman killer story too. I don't know. I've never seen it, but I heard of it. But yeah, and then they split off so they could get busy, have sex, do it. And every time I watch this, I think, who would have sex on the beach? You're gonna get sand in your booty crack. That's not comfortable. Who would do this? But then they get ready to go driving, and Barry wants to drive despite being so schnockered. So schnockered. So Ray's like, and he reminds me of Biff Tannen. He's like, nobody drives my car but me. Nobody drives a car but me. But he's driving it. He's drunk and he wants to listen to rock music instead of sappy shit. And then he drops the bottle and they hit something or someone. It's someone. We don't know who it is. We know who it is. But yeah. And as they're trying to deal with it, here comes Max. So they have to pretend that Barry is throwing up. And, and you watch this conversation where Max is just sort of talking to him. And, like, you could tell that Ray's just trying to move him along. Like, it's not the drugs you're looking for, move along. Kind of situation. He's like, how can I help you, Max? You can wipe that my shit don't stink look off your face. Okay, will do. Because, like, Ray is the odd man out in this, but he's not rich. He's the son of a fisherman, which is all he really knows. Which is supposed to make him a red herring. Because, son of a fisherman, he is a fisherman. Blah, blah, blah. He's supposed to be that, but no. So, after getting rid of Max, they decide to dump the body, and we had this. I think it's longer a scary movie because that just goes so far into parody with it. He's beating the crap out of her or whatever. But like, here it's like, we're taking to her grave. Swear it. And then they go to throw him in there. And it grabs the crown that she's wearing. Some people, and I know some people will ask, well, why did he jump in after it? Well, because that's evidence. That's evidence. They find the body with the Croaker Queen crown. Well, they're gonna know she was involved, right? So he gets it, and they show that he's still alive, right? Now let's talk about the situation here, okay? Because how much trouble would they really be in? Let's look at the situation. It was an accident. Ray was not drunk, and I know he says the Levi was driving. There's alcohol all over the car. There's never Levi was driving. Again, they can look at the fingerprints. And I know Bear's fingerprints will be on the steering wheel, but so will Ray's. As long as Ray's fingerprints are on that steering wheel, there's proof that he drove. And he can just do a breathalyzer test. Not drinking. So, and the 3 rich kids will get just a ting. He might have a little bit more serious trouble, but they could also help him out with their money, But no, they're like, no, I'm taking it to the grave, blah, blah, blah. 1 year later. And God bless them for trying to make Julie, because like she shows up and her mom's like, you look like death. Like, no, she looks gorgeous with makeup to try to make her look like she's not gorgeous. But she's gorgeous. It's like you got one of the most beautiful women in the world. Still is, by the way. People commenting on how she looks now. So she gained a little weight. She's had kids. She's in her 40s. She's still fine. The only problem I have, and it's a problem I have with celebrities in general, is that they get plastic surgery on their faces. You know, and I'm not going to go into a big rant or anything, but like, your face is always present to everyone. Why do everybody feel the need, celebrities in general, feel the need to mess with this? Especially when they're already fucking gorgeous to begin with. But let's get plastic surgery and make us look worse than we used to look. Case in point, Courtney Cox. I mean, Jennifer Aniston also got some work done, but she still looks good. Courtney Cox looks like a skeleton. Right? She was in Masters of the Universe. She could be in there now. She could play Skeletor. Aha, He-Man! I'm just saying. Sometimes the plastic surgery can work, but most of the time, it's botched. Right? And sometimes I think maybe some celebrities just have bad reactions to the Botox, because look at this case in point. Anna Faris. She did something between Scary Movie 2 and 3. By the time she came back for 2, her face looked different. By 4, it was like puffy. And then something happened where it just kind of went away and she looks kind of fine now. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know. But, like, you shouldn't get plastic surgery on your face, or freaking tattoos all over your face or your neck, or piercings up your freaking nose. You're not a bull. I'm just saying. Your face is fine. And a lot of times with the situations, it's smokers. Smokers who smoke, and then it messes with their skin, so they want to get the... But even in that case, you're still not going to look that bad. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to rant, and then I did. She still looks fine. And I mean, fine. Okay, so leave her alone. But yeah, they tried to put the makeup on her, try to make her look like death run over, which is what her mom says. When no, she still looks gorgeous. And so now it's been a year, and she's come back home, and they're eating fish because it's a fishing town. And she gets a letter that says, "I know what you did last summer." So she immediately freaks out, and she goes to Helen's sister's store. It's a family store, sister store, whatever, to try to get Helen's New York number. And this is evidence that they didn't really talk to each other no one talked to each other when they left, because no one knows where the hell anyone is, right? Where then Elsa's just like, well, she doesn't have a New York number. She's like right there. And the camera like pans over, and she's like, right. How did she not see her? She is literally right there. Like, oh, what happened? Oh, I went to New York. It didn't work. Blah, 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 blah. And then she talks about, have you told Barry? So they go to see Barry. We find out that they broke up. And Barry's like, oh, I know what you did that summer. Ooh, big deal. And then he's like, it's Max. Which is the logical course of action. It's Max. Right? So they go to the docks, I think, and Barry confronts Max and he just assumes it's Max and tells him, "We got your little note, leave us the fuck alone," and then like scratches his arm with the hook and puts it back in the ice and takes off. He's like, "Oh, I took care of Max, he's not going to bother us." And then, surprise, Ray is also there. And he's like, "Oh, Ray became a fisherman." He's like, "Yeah, well, kind of like my dad." "They didn't know your dad." "Well, I know he was a fisherman, that's about it." So now he's a fisherman. And he wants to go back with Julie, but Julie has way too many problems right now. But, yeah. And then we get to the reshoots. So that night, as Max is finishing up his work, his hook is gone, and he gets hooked by the hook man, by the fisherman. And, this was a reshoot, actually, because originally, Max was supposed to survive the movie. He was supposed to die. And again, I'm wondering, then what would his part be in this? Was it just Barry goes to threaten him and that's it? Was Max involved in more of the plot throughout with the others? Because I can't imagine it would just be Barry threatens him and then he's gone from the plot. Maybe he was used more as a red herring. I don't know. Maybe he did know something about it. Maybe he was Billy Blue instead of Ray. I don't know. This is a revisited review. I can spoil things before it happened. Like, I don't know. There was more to it, and I don't know what it implied. But he was not supposed to die. It was that in reshoots when they complained that it was too big of a lull between the beginning incident and a car crash, and they wanted more blood. Because originally, Jim Gillespie wanted a bloodless film. And it actually started with later with Elsa's kill. She's supposed to be killed from behind, and there was no blood. But they were like, that makes no sense. So they added blood to it, which is still not much, but you see more, I guess. But yeah. And they don't know Max is dead. So they still think Max is behind it. But that doesn't work as a red herring for the viewer because we know he's dead. So it's sort of, it's there. And then from that, we cut to Barry at a gym, working out. Na 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 na. Hush, hush. I thought I heard you calling my name. Now his jacket is taken. Oh no! And then he is chased by the killer, who hits him with a car, and then just stands over with the hook and doesn't do anything. Because it cuts to the next day. They show up at the hospital to see him, and it's just like, wait. And that's one of the biggest questions in this movie. That every reviewer I've seen is like, why did he just let him live? If he's trying to kill them, why would he do that? He killed Max without remorse, which I know was a reshoot. So maybe this was still from the original version where Barry was the first one he went after, and he was just... But with the new context of he just killed someone, him not killing Barry no longer makes sense. So, yeah. Because if you take Max getting killed out of it, then him toying with them first makes sense. Right? Where he does with Barry, hit him with a car and just standing there taunting him. Or cutting Helen's hair. Putting the crabs and stuff in. Although, I don't know how that scene would work because it's Max's body that's in there. So, I don't know. I really don't know. So then Julie reveals that she knows who it was that they supposedly killed. David Egan. His body was found washed up. And they know that he has a sister. Not Susie, that was the girlfriend. Anne Heche. I can't remember the sister's name. No, it's not Julie. That's her name. Hold on. Missy. Ha! Let me get into it. Missy. So they go to visit her. And so in the year after the traumatic events, Helen has taken up smoking. It's not really big. It only serves for one little plot point, and that's not even... So they go to visit Missy, and they pretend their car broke down, and they kind of... But they're really drilling her with questions. I noticed this time, they're asking so many questions. To a point, why isn't she going, hey, what's with the third degree here? Why do you keep asking me questions about David? Especially when they learn about any friends. Yeah, Billy Blue. We were sweet on each other for a while. So keep in mind, this is a visit review, spoilers all about. Those of us who have watched this movie and are rewatching it, know it's Ray. So, did Ray hook up with Missy? Or she says they were sweet on each other. But everyone always jumps to the conclusion, oh, they be fucking. But it's like, not really. Like, maybe he tried to date her, and he just couldn't, or something. Like, and she's like, oh, maybe there's something there that he couldn't really, and that was Julie, But, yeah. So they leave, they pretend to call AAA, and they leave. They're sitting in a car, and Okay, so this has always bothered me. If you're gonna sit in a car and talk, don't start your car and talk. Drive off then, or something. Don't just start your car. 'Cause she comes out, hey, jump scare, jump scare. Forgot your cigarettes. Oh, you got the car started. Yeah, dang thing just started right up. Funny how that always happens, and they drive off. She's already, something's up. So, yeah. So yeah, and they reaffirm that something happened. They're not friends anymore, whatever. Helen goes home. She pours a Diet Coke into a glass without ice, which is weird. And then she goes to bed. And we see the fisherman is there. Dad is oblivious to everything. And then she goes to bed, and when she wakes up, her hair has been cut. Oh no! But they're able to fix it. She's got it covered, and then later when she has to go to the... But by the way, she goes up there. I was like, oh, I need you to work tomorrow. She's like, I can't. Croaker Queen pageant. I gotta be there. She's like, well, we gotta do all this, and that, so we need you there anyway. And she's like, well, I have to be there. It's mandatory. Well, yeah. Anyway, so they meet. I think it's supposed to be Barry's house they meet at. Someone's house. Is it Helen's house they meet at? Because she pulls up, she hears a noise, and she stops. And that's where she finds Max and the crabs and Barry's jacket. And she runs to go get them, and by the time she comes back, and this is one of the most improbable parts of this movie, it's completely gone. And they don't believe her, but as I am going to point out, and other people have pointed out, there is no way they wouldn't smell the crabs. Even if they're not there. That is crabs. That is a fishy smell. You are going to smell that. There is no way they wouldn't smell that. It's like, oh, there's nothing there. You're full of it. And then Ray shows up, and they're like, oh, how do we know you didn't do it? He's like, I got a letter too. Oh, you got a letter. I get hacked to pieces. I get ran over. She gets her hacked to pieces, and you get a letter. How convenient. And it's like, but like, yeah. So they decide, and this is, so Helen goes to the Croaker Queen thing with Barry watching her back. I don't know what Ray's doing. He just takes off, I think, and they have a fight. And then Julie's gonna go back to see Missy with a yearbook to try to have her point out Billy Blue. There. And so we get... Well, I'll start with Julie and Missy. Julie gets there. Missy's already on edge, and they have an argument. She's like, no. What happened? She tries to admit what they did. What happened with David was an accident. She goes, oh, I know. You know what? I know it was unaliving. It was Scubicide. Scubicide. It was Scubicide. And she's like, he unalived himself. He's like, how do you know? He goes, oh, he left a note. And I hid it in the outhouse for some reason. Or a shed, whatever it is. She shows it to him, and it looks like a threat more than it does a Scubicide note. So, she's like, no, we hit him. No, he unalived himself. No, I saw the tattoo. It said Susie. No, he didn't have a tattoo. It was on his arm, not his neck. This isn't Undertaker. He didn't have any tattoos. And she was like, get out of my house. And I'm like, every time I watch this, I just go, you're outside. Not in your house. That line never makes sense. Meanwhile, back at the Croaker Queen pageant, they pick a winner. She has to, and they have this terrible singing, the fame song. I think that person wins though. It's weird. But during this, Barry is attacked by the fishermen up there in the balcony, as he's the only one there. And they're the only ones allowed in that balcony for some reason, if you think about it. They were there at the beginning. They're there now. Yeah. And when she tells the cops what happened, they go up there like, oh, there's nothing here. But then after they leave, they pan to blood dripping off the thing. Okay, so like, even if you want to say that's the only blood that was there, it still doesn't. Someone would see it. Come on. You think cops would go over that area just to look? Like, they'd be more thrilled than just go up there, take one glance, and go, she's full of it. And then the cop's driving her home, and the fisherman shows up, kills the cop, and chases her back to the store, where he kills Elsa, and then goes after her, pretends to be a mannequin, and chases her. And this is another thing that people get frustrated with, as well as me. She's running. And she's running towards the parade. And even though she's going pretty good, and she seems to be fine, she stops to look back. And that's where the fisherman jumps up and gets her. If she just kept running, she would have went right into the public, the parade, and she would be fine. But no, she had to stop, right? It's like the trick or treat, with the girl and the vampire guy who's not really a vampire, but yeah, she's hooked and she's dead. Yep. So then, because Julie can't get a hold of anyone else, she tracks down Ray to his boat, and she's like, something's going on. It wasn't David Egan that we hit, and he's like, Julie, just come on to the boat. Come on, you're going crazy. Come on. And then she sees his boat's called Billy Blue, and she freaks out. And I'm just saying, Ray being the killer, that would make no sense, right? Like, why would you make Ray the killer? Because that would make no sense. No way you should make Ray the killer. But, no, he kind of chases after her, trying to explain something. You don't understand. And then he gets knocked out by a random dude on a boat. And the guy goes, get on the boat. And she listens for some reason. And then that's when she realizes, oh shit. She sees the pictures of her friends. She goes, oh hey, what? You guys should be out there running people over or something. And yeah, he's Ben Willis, Susie's father, which she already sort of figured out looking on the computer. So that's what she tried to tell Ray. Which is weird because she figures out it was Ben Willis. And then just because she saw Billy Blue, she's like, you're the fisherman. But you already... Huh? You're like, oh, it's Susie's dad. Susie's father. But... Okay, sure, whatever. Ray eventually catches up. He's way too slow because they taking out a... And during this, there's a great final girl circuit where she finds the bodies of her friends. Not Max, though. Just Helen and Barry. I don't know what he did with Max's body. I don't know. Maybe because in this version... Maybe this was from the version before Max died and they used that. So that's why his body's not there. I didn't think about that till now. That's why his body's not there. Because they didn't add it, to this part. And he was supposed to survive in the original version. I really would like to know what the hell he's doing to the rest of this. So they didn't edit the ending then, because, well, the very end, but we'll get there. So, Ray eventually shows up to have her back, and his hand gets caught on the thing, and pulls him up, and he flings into the water. And then when the cops show up, they find just a hand with the hook up there. And even though now they can finally tell the truth, where the cops are like, you don't have any idea why he would come after you. They're like, no. What? Like, why wouldn't she say it now? Well, you see, a year ago, we accidentally hit someone. You don't have to say that they were drinking. I accidentally hit someone on the road, and as you kind of do. My friend was drinking. He spilled alcohol all over the car. We didn't think anyone would believe us. Believe me, if I said I wasn't the one that was drinking, so he threw the body in the thing. Only he wasn't dead, and he came after he killed our friends. But no, they don't do that. No. He flashed to another year later. So, timeline. Okay, let's get the timeline here. The beginning of this movie is 1996. 1 year later is the present timeline of 1997 when this movie came out. And then, so this is 1998. Everybody I've seen who tries to do a timeline of this says, no, begin in 97, then it's 98, and then the second one's in 99. No, because it doesn't make... You start in 96. Then 1 year later would be 97, when the film came out and when the movie takes place. Then, the inciting incident happens in 96. You go to 97, which is where the movie takes place when it came out, and then the next year is 98. Bada boom. How you doing? So Julie's in the shower, and she gets a note from some woman who's not the roommate from before and not Carla in the next one. And it's like, it's going to happen again? No, actually, it's just inviting her to a pool party. And then she sees, I still know, written on a foggy window, and then the fisherman jumps out. Spoiler alert, in the next one, it's revealed this is a dream. But in the original ending, which was much more subtle, she was on the computer, and a message popped up saying, I still know. Which I believe they used for the teaser trailer for the sequel, which they did. They were so ready to do a sequel to this. They threw the teaser trailer out on the VHS for this. When this released on VHS, they had it in the opening trailers. They had it, a little trailer said, I still know. And it wasn't even, it wasn't even what it was called. It said, I Don't See You Last Summer, the sequel, 1998. Well, they're already planning this. They wanted to get going fast. They didn't have a name or anything yet. But, yeah. This was an interesting rewatch. I still like it. I'll give it a low pretty good. A low pretty good. I always liked this movie, but like I said, I like the second one better. So, we'll see where that goes. But, so what are your thoughts on I Know What You Did Last Summer in the comments? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.